Hello beautiful and welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video that's a first for me. This is a little bit of a different kind of video for me, but this is going to be me doing half of my face with expensive makeup and half of my face with drugstore options. I'm having half and half, like the look is already done. And I feel like this was so much fun. This was so much fun. And if you have not been here before, hello, my name is Angie. I'm such a lover of beauty and makeup. I love trying all of it, so you don't have to. I love reviewing things, finding dupes, and just playing with makeup. Playing with color especially. I really love red eyeshadow, so super excited to be able to compare some red eyeshadow formulas. And if you want to see some more makeup content on your timeline, don't forget to subscribe because I upload 5 videos a week. I'm pre-filming a little bit. I don't know exactly when this is going up. This might be going up when I'm on my vacation, and if it is, I won't be really that active in the comments. I know you understand, I'm just letting you know. Okay, so half of my face is done with the expensive makeup and half of my face is done with the less expensive makeup. I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to decide which one is which, and then we're gonna go into actually doing it. But yeah, couple of seconds for you to decide which is the expensive side, which is the less expensive side. I also bring in my husband at the end of this video and he's gonna give his opinion as well, if you want to stay tuned to see that. And now I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know and then we can go into it. This is the drugstore side. This is the expensive side. Did you guess right? Did you guess right? Anyways, let's get into the actual application. I will link everything down in the description box. Don't forget to check the description box. In the description box, you'll also find my vlog channel, my merch, and my other socials. I am ready for my close-up. The first one that I am gonna compare, and I've talked about this before, and it is the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude, and the one that looks like it, the NYX Bear With Me. I personally think the biggest difference between these two, other than that I don't have these in the corresponding shades, I'm gonna have to mix, but you can see I love both of these. Some of my favorites. This one has a little bit more longevity and it also has just a smidge more coverage, but they are very similar. Okay, I have 4 and 5.5, and in this one I have True Beige Buff, Beige Camel, and Cinnamon Mahogany. So I'm gonna put, of course, everything down below, all the shades, everything, links, all you're gonna need. I'm also having 2 different sponges. I think I'm gonna do affordable on this side and expensive on this side. Let me try and mix these to get a shade that's somewhat similar, because I have noticed that the darker shades in this that I have are a little more yellow leaning, which is my shade, and these are a little bit more neutral leaning, so I'm gonna have to mix away. Be right back. Okay, so I've mixed a bit here and you can see they're not the same shade. This is the Giorgio Armani one. It's a little bit more almost on the peachy warm side, and this is more on the golden warm side. So, and this is that one. This is the NYX side, and this is the Giorgio Armani side. It is not going to be a color dupe. I'm sorry, it's just not going to be a color dupe, but I do think they are very similar when it comes to texture type, and I feel like that is the most important thing. These are, see, I'm putting the NYX one here with this sponge here. I think that these are a light to medium coverage with a somewhat natural dew, more on the dewy side finish. They do dry down and they look really fresh and nice and like your skin throughout the day. And I mean, I wore this one on my wedding. It's very long lasting and it looks really fresh, both in front of the camera and out and about, and that is why I usually travel with either one of these two, because I think they're so nice. And I've heard that the NYX version is getting discontinued, and if you were extremely loving this formula and you are willing to pay a little extra money, do know that the Giorgio Armani one is pretty similar and also comes in more shades. I mean, there's a difference, but maybe it's not that much of a difference. So yeah, personally I think that the finish and the coverage and the longevity of these are close enough so that I would call it a dupe. It's just the undertones of the shades that I have that are not similar, but as it is not a full coverage foundation, it's not that much of a difference. You can see that this is a little bit more golden, this is a little bit more neutral, peachy leaning, but both of them pretty close to my skin tone, let's be honest. Next thing we are going to talk about are concealers. I remember first time I tried this one, which is the Fenty Beauty, I think it's called Bright Fix. Yes, tried this one, I was like, this reminds me a lot of my favorite concealer, which is the Born to Glow by NYX. I think these are very comparable, to the point that I don't think that if you were wearing one or the other and you like had it on your face, this one, the NYX one, has like a sponge tip applicator. I don't think that you would be like, they're not that different. They're both, can I get some out? I have 3 of these NYX ones and they're almost running out. This one is in vanilla, I think, if I'm not totally mistaken. Yes, vanilla. This one, they're not like the exact same shade. I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference. I think I have this one in Deep Butter, which I think is, like, you can maybe tell by the name, just a little bit more yellow leaning. You can see they're not the same shade, but I do think they're a very similar formula. So I'm going to use this sponge that I had for this foundation on the expensive side, and I'm doing the Fenty concealer on this side. I think that both of these concealers are a pretty like satiny finish, medium coverage, very easy and forgiving, and especially great to use with foundations that are light to medium coverage, because they're not going to look like that stark under eye coverage. Like the NYX Born to Glow is my favorite concealer. It does dry down a little more. I think you can see it as a little bit less glow than this one, but with time I feel like they look similar and I feel like they wear similar. So I was definitely thinking that when I was reviewing this Fenty one, I'm like, pretty similar to that NYX one. I couldn't really find any comparable under eye setting powders when I was going through my collection, but I do have a comparable finishing powder that I'm gonna show you, and it is the, well, it's gonna be on this side. It's the Jaclyn Cosmetics Luminous Powder in Carrots. This is like a pretty warm shade, and it's this shade. It is this shade. This is the finishing powder from the High Glass collection in medium. These are very similar in tone, in undertone, in darkness, in depth, so to speak. This is the medium one, like I said. I do have this one in the lighter one as well. I don't have this one in the light one. This is getting discontinued. And again, if you were dying to have this formula, this one is pretty comparable. It is a loose one though, and I will say that this one is slightly more luminous than this one, but they give a similar result on the skin. I'm actually going to just use, wait, let me get that one. I'm just going to use my NYX setting powder under both my eyes. I'm going to use very little though. I'm going to use very little of that under both my eyes just to set this concealer, because this is a powder that I love with all of my concealers, and I'm just using a little on both sides just so we don't have super creasy concealer, even though I will say none of these concealers really crease me a lot during the day. So this is where we're at right now. You can see now that I opened this one, maybe I should have compared them like this, like a pro. They are very similar in tone. If I can like not focus on me. Can you see how similar they are in tone? So I'm gonna use this on the Drugstore side. I'm swirling my brush in and I'm just doing a light layer over all the places except my under eyes, because I've already put some other powder there and I don't need it to be like super like crinkly. So I'm switching the brush to this white one, and with the Jaclyn Hill powder, I mean, this isn't like, this isn't sold at Sephora. The Jaclyn Hill is still sold at Ulta, but it's definitely in the more premium section at Ulta. So I'm just working in the powder in this, and I'm doing the exact same thing, going over my entire face with it, except my under eyes. I hope you can see that there's a little bit more luminosity on this side than it is on this side, but they still have the same glow, and I will say that the NYX side is more of a natural glowy finish, and this one is just slightly more shiny, but both of them look similar enough that if you told me that you were using this one and you were using this one, I wouldn't argue with you, because they look similar enough. And I'm really sad that NYX is discontinuing this. Hopefully they'll come out with a similar product or the same formula again, but in another line if they're not keeping the High Glass, because it's a really good one. Let us do bronzer as well. I have two bronzers that I think are pretty similar in tone. If you wanted a matte bronzer and you were like, ooh, this Charlotte Tilbury, such a nice bronzer. This is in medium. You were like, that's so nice, a fully matte bronzer. I would love that. Can I present to you the Juvia's Place Matte Bronzer. This one comes in 2 shades. It also has a mirror down here, comes in 2 shades, and this one is pretty comparable to the Charlotte Tilbury one. This one is a medium, this one is a medium. They're both matte bronzers, good quality, easy to blend. And with this one, you also get a more golden shade to mix with. So I'm not saying they're dead on dupes, but if you were using the Juvia's Place one, I'm going to start with the Charlotte Tilbury one. If you were using the Juvia's Place one and you told me, oh, it's the matte Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, I wouldn't argue with you. What I will say that I think the Juvia's Place one is a little bit more pigmented than this one. So maybe this one is just a smidgen more like forgiving and not as like pigmented as the Juvia's Place one. I mean, of course the Charlotte Tilbury is like, the packaging is like bougie and nice and all of that. I think there's an equal amount of product in this one. No, oh my god. Okay, this one is 16 grams and this one is 32.4, which means that you get the full size. This one is the same amount of product as this one, but then you get a second bronzer in the exact same amount of product in another shade. I didn't even know that that was... Okay, that is a steal. That is and you can see it's a little bit more pigmented. It goes deeper or like goes bronze a little faster. So it all depends on what you're looking for. And I'm only using this bottom shade now. I'm not mixing. Usually I do mix. And I don't know about you, but to me, these look pretty comparable. Similar enough, again, so I wouldn't question if you said you were using this one, but you were actually using the Juvia's Place. Like, I wouldn't question that. I think both of them look pretty similar. And when I look in the mirror like this, I think they're close enough in tone so that I would call them actually like a dupe. A dupe. Okay, I'm gonna do some cream blush. Is this going up before? I'm not 100% sure. But I did mention this one as a really, really good favorite from last month. This is the cream bronzer from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This one is in Latte. Beautiful, absolutely stunning. This is a bit of a high-end formula. It's a really, really great formula though. And I remember when I was using this that I thought it was very similar to the Kiko Milano cream sticks. Same kind of formula, matte. This one is very similar in color as well. They're not dead on dupes. This is a little bit lighter and more mauve rosy. This is a little bit more on the neutral peachy side. Close enough though, so I'm not gonna argue with you. Like if you said you were using the latte one, you were really using the one from Kiko Milano. Let me see what shade this is. This is a number 01. Oh, I think this is from Tuscan Sunshine collection. I don't know if they still have this shade left, like this one, but they do still have this product in stock. I'm taking the other finger for this side. I don't know if this product in particular is being sold at Ulta, because Ulta has some Kiko but not all of it, but do know that Kiko has an American website, an American warehouse, so if you were interested in buying from Kiko, you could if you were living in the US, and they also have of course European warehouses because this is an Italian drugstore brand. This one is a little bit more pigmented than this one. I think they are similar enough and they work in the same way. They both set down to a matte finish. They both are very easy to work with. You can use a finger, your brush, your sponge. You can use them on foundation, without foundation. You can use them on top of powders. They're still pretty forgiving and they're pretty easy to work with. So I think they're a very similar formula. It's just that if you want, this one is a lot more affordable. And of course the packaging is a bit different, but this one is heavier than this one, even though this one also has, wrong side, this one also has a brush to blend out with, although I don't use that brush for that. Let's do highlighter and then I'm gonna go and do some brows. Okay. This is something that I went through my collection and I tried to find something that's a dupe for the Cookie Highlighter by Benefit. Because I feel like this is a bit of a cult classic, but not everyone wants to buy from Benefit. I kind of hate this packaging. It's a pretty expensive one. This is extremely pigmented. It's a bit too icy for my skin tone, as you can see. It has a little bit of a pinky undertone, but you can't really tell once it comes on the skin. This is just, I have a bit of a, I would say medium skin tone. Just gonna go over this with the bronzer to take it down a little bit. It's nice. It's very creamy, almost feels a little bit like you're like, is it a powder? Is it a cream? Very creamy, very, very icy. And it is a pretty highlighter. I just don't use it that much because it is too icy for me, it's too intense for me, it's not the look I'm going for. And I feel the exact same way about this one. This is the Tribe Highlighter Volume 3 by Juvia's Place. It is the exact same. Is it a cream? Is it a powder? Very high intensity. I'm using the exact same brush, but just a new one. And it also gives that extreme, like you can see it is the exact same. So if you are look at, what is this? Where am I going with this? So if you are, as Teresa's dad would say, an uncooked chicken, and you're looking for that uncooked chicken highlighter, oh my lord. This is definitely an alternative if you don't want to buy from Benefit, or if you are looking for a more affordable version. I don't know if these are available at Ulta. I do know that some Juvia's Place is. Again, I'm just going over with a bronzer brush, no additional product. But I feel like in texture and in like color and how intense they are extremely similar, at least according to me. They're just too damn icy for me. This is the Cookie Highlighter, and this is the Juvia's Place. This one just has a little bit of that almost peachy pinky undertone, but they're both extremely like icy on the skin, and they, as you can see, this is on this one and this is on this one. They're just very icy, blinding highlighters. One of them is just more affordable. I'm gonna do my brows, but I am gonna come back before I'm just gonna do some brow powder, but I'm gonna compare two of these like brush tip applicator brow pens that I really love, and I'm gonna show you the difference between them, because we have a very affordable one and we have a one that's a little bit more expensive. Okay, so what I want to compare is the NYX Lift and Snatch on this side and the Glossier Brow Flick, because these have the same tone. These have the same tone. I'm gonna zoom in a bit more. Whoop, that's not zooming in. Now you're gonna hear the autofocus even more, and I'm sorry about that, but I have not been able to get my microphone to work. But this is the NYX. Do you see? No, you can't see anything. Do you see how easy this is able to do brow hairs? Exact. Can I get even closer? Am I in focus? Yeah. Like exact strokes. So easy. Like it's not even hard. It's so easy. It's so pigmented. I've had this for such a long time. Is it like it's coming? It has to be closer to 6 months. I use it every time I do makeup. I don't have any problem with like fading or the tip not being saturated. It is just a really good product and so affordable. This is so much better than this. This is the Glossier Brow Flick. I reviewed this, and I'm not sure if that review is up yet, but if not, the review is coming soon in my like monthly rankings. I have filmed it. This is, first of all, it's not as pigmented, but when you put them on, it's the same tone. Like you have to get them to be pigmented, you have to press. And then when you press, you see that the hairs become thicker because you are, of course, pressing, because this is not saturated all the way into the tip of the pen. Like if I just do like I did with the NYX one, there's nothing coming out. I have to press. And it's just, it makes the hairs, like the brow hairs, it makes them look more clunky. So it's just not as good as this one. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do my best with this one as well. But even though they're the same color, this is just so much more effortless and easy. And when you touch the tip here, like I did with the NYX one, nothing happens. Nothing happens because it is not saturated with color all the way to the tip. So I have to press, and then the brow hairs just become a bit more thicker and clunky, and it's not as good as a product. I'm sorry, it is just not as good of a product. I'm gonna fix the brows and I'm gonna set them with the NYX Brow Glue. I don't have, I think right now, a high-end like comparable formula, because this one I have, it's clear. I do have the Glossier Brow Boy Brow, but that one is not clear, and I don't have like, I only have like, you understand, I don't have anything comparable that are in color. So I'm just gonna set in with this, but I hope that this showed at least why the NYX one is so good, and why all of the other ones that I've tried have just, well, not been. I'm just finishing up the eye primer for both sides. I'm using this one from Sigma. This is the Sigma Eyeshadow Base Primer. I have mine in Ignite. I already know that. I don't know what I'm checking for the name. I have been using this primer for quite some years. It is one of my absolute favorites, and I'm just using the same primer on both eyes to give these shadows the exact same chance, so to speak. I will say this from, like, both of these highlighters are too light for me. They look crazy. But I wanted to dupe the cookie one because I know so many people like it. I will say this one has a little bit more of a cast on me than the cookie one does. But I will say if you are a fair to light, which, like I said, I'm using a medium foundation. If you are a fair to light, I don't think you would see this cast, which is not bad. It's just a little bit more than the other one. But I don't think you would see it if you were actually the correct skin tone for this. I lost something on the floor for this highlight. Okay, I have been dying to show you how good the matte reds are in this palette. So I had to do, I'm gonna do a one eyeshadow look, and I'm gonna use the matte red here, the one that is called Please Me. And I'm gonna show you how, first of all, how underrated this palette is. The palette, absolutely stunning. I'm gonna compare it to a Melt matte red eyeshadow. I always say that Melt, what they do best is matte red eyeshadows. And I'm gonna compare it to this one, the one that's called Obituary. So if you were feeling like you were missing, because all Melt red matte eyeshadows are limited edition, I will say that I do think that Colourpop, they're doing a pretty good job. They're doing a pretty good job with their matte red eyeshadow. So I'm gonna try this one that says Obituary. And I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna just put it in my crease, and I'm just gonna put setting powder. Like no eyeshadow, just setting powder. And you can see this is a very pigmented red matte eyeshadow. It is absolutely stunning. It is a super, super pretty color. Let me go in with the other one just so I can show you. There are so many things in front of me, it's a mess. Send help. So let me use the one that's called Please Me. This is such an underrated palette. I really love this palette. So let's do Please Me here. You can see they are very similar, not dead on dupes, but very, very, very similar. This is the same dark red, yummy, like matte, dead on matte, no glitters, no shimmers. This one, I mean, it is a really nice, can I come in closer? It's a really nice dark matte. This one is a little bit more cool tone than this one, but still, they are the same, like dead on opaque, beautiful, yummy, dark red. I'm gonna take a clean, smaller brush, and I'm gonna blend on the edge and just soften this up a little bit. But yeah, no additional product, I'm just blending the edge, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. Another new clean brush, and I'm just blending on the side. And I hope you noticed that this one was easier to blend out than this one. Melt shadows are extremely pigmented, and they deepen up on themselves. Like you can build a matte eyeshadow from Melt and they can become super deep, but they're not the easiest to blend out. This is where we are. I put some under my eyes as well. You can see definitely that this is a little bit more on the like high-end side. The Melt one is a little bit more cool tone, a little bit more like a wine burgundy, and this one is a little bit more on the warmer plummy side. Will say though, this one blends so much better, and it also builds a little bit, like it is darker here in the outer corner where I built it up. I like both of them. I love Melt, but I'm gonna be honest, if you were looking for good matte red eyeshadows, this is a really nice palette. This is also a matte red. Don't be fooled by the red packaging. This is also a matte red. And I thought actually, why don't I do this one instead? I was gonna do setting powder, but I do have, and in this limited edition Melt palette that's no longer available, there is this Lydia. They are not that on dupes. This one from the Melt palette is more like a slightly gray white, and this is a slightly pink white. I mean, not that on dupes, but neither are these shades, so I think it's fine, to be honest. So I'll use the Sandworm one on this side. That one is a really, really pigmented one. I mean, I will say this like almost matte white is a really, really good quality shadow. I feel like how you know that something is good quality is like how opaque are the light shades and how buildable and blendable are the dark shades. The middle shades, it's very rare that brands don't like get those to work. It is the super light and the super dark. That's where I'm curious. Okay, new brush, and I'm going in with Uncuffed. It is not gonna be the same shade, but this is also pretty pigmented. It's gonna be close enough. I'm just here to show you quality, okay? Give you some inspiration. and to keep you from feeling like you missed out on some of these limited edition things. Like, you can still get a similar result with less expensive, still available things. And again, this blend is more effortless. I'm just gonna do some mascara and some lashes because I don't have any affordable lashes. There are not that many affordable lashes available in Sweden, and the ones that are available, I haven't found any that I think are actually like good. I do think that one of the things that are worth splurging on if you like false lashes are false lashes. They will last you longer, they're easier to apply, and they're more beginner friendly. Even though you might think the difference, I think, in my humble opinion, that a more expensive lash is worth it. 9 times out of 10. I will say though, with mascara, I was thinking that I wanted to show you the Maybelline Sky High mascara next to the Benefit Bad Gal Bang, because I do think that those are dead on dupes. I will link them down below, but I already gone through my Bad Gal Bang, and apparently it was in my empties and it was gone, and I didn't have a backup, so this is just going to be me telling you that I do think the Bad Gal Bang from Benefit and the Last Sensational from Maybelline are dupes. It's just gonna have to be like that. They're dupes. I think they're dupes. I got some lashes on. If you're wondering about any of these things that I'm talking about, I will link everything down below. I decided to do some half lashes so we can keep that light area open in the inner part of the eyes. I will say, I mean, they're pretty similar, this eye looks, but can I be honest, I preferred this one. The blend is better. This is smoother. This is looking a little bit more choppy, if I'm gonna be honest, but this white one is more pigmented than this one here. So it's a give and take. It's a give and take. I want to quickly mention this one as well. It's the same with the mascara. I only have one of the ones left. The Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. If you love the look of this, or if you're like me and you've tried a small one like this, or if you're like, oh, I also want to try one of those mists that have a little bit of oil in them that makes your skin look a little bit more glowy, but also does not elongate your makeup, the Pixie Glow Mist is so similar. It gives you the same effect on the skin. Trust me on this one. And I've gone through my glow mist. I didn't have it left. Apparently I've gone through it. I didn't repurchase because I still have this one, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Okay, I love this. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Walk of No Shame matte lipstick. I'm gonna do this on half my lips. I love this. This is a newfound favorite. I think this color is so pretty. It is like that muted red of the 90s. This is not gonna go together, but bear with me. So let me do this on half my lips, and I can try something next to it that I think is not a dead on dupe, but close enough. I remember saying when I was trying this one out that I thought that this was similar to the NYX Cosmetics lingerie lipsticks in Exotic, and I can tell already by looking at them side by side that they are extremely similar, but I think this one is gonna look a little bit darker. Yeah, it's probably gonna look a little bit darker. And I think that this formula is probably a little bit, even though it's a matte, it's more of a comfort matte. It's a little bit more slippy. It is a little bit more thinner. This is more like a matte, but in the crayon. This crayon formula is really easy to work with. Yeah, I think it's just a little bit more cool tone and a little bit darker. Let's see. Yeah, they are very similar, but not that on dupes. You can see that it's a little bit darker. This one is a little lighter, a little warmer. This is one of my favorite reds in my collection, and it probably is the reason why I fell in love with this instantly when I tried it, because it is the same, in the same ballpark of a shade. And if you had been eyeing a shade like this but you don't want to spend that money, try the Exotic one. This comes in, I think it comes in a gloss as well. I think it comes in a liquid lipstick. It comes in this one, or did they discontinue the liquid? I'm not 100% sure. But the NYX Exotic, if you can find it, it is a similar enough color to the Walk of No Shame so that you can at least compare them. I'm gonna take down my hair. You know what? Why don't I get my husband and let's see if he can see the difference. Let's see if he can spot the difference between the expensive and the not expensive side. Because I'm not 100% sure that he can see the difference. Is that rude? I don't think he can see it. Can you see the difference? I don't feel like it's that much of a difference. I like the lip color more. I like this color more. I think the highlighter looks a little smoother. This has a little bit of a base to it, and I think the eyeshadow looks better on the least expensive, like the less expensive side. The eyebrows look better on this side. The foundation and concealer, they look so similar. Wait, let me get him in here and he can guess, and I'll also show you a close-up and turn the lights down a bit. Let's actually start with the close-up. This is the less expensive side, and this is the more expensive side. This is them like side by side. You're gonna have to let me know what you think. Do you think there's like a super big difference? Or you think they are like similar enough? That's how I feel. They're similar enough. Save your money. Let me get my husband. Okay, so my husband is here. Hello. He's sitting on the floor. He's not really this short. Apparently the dog came too. Are you gonna tell me as well? I swear to God. Honey, no one asked you to be here. You don't have to be a part of everything. Oh my God. So here's the thing. I did my makeup. One side is expensive, one side is not expensive. I mean, they're not the same color. Some of them, like, they're somewhat the same color, but it's like different foundation, different concealer, different powder, like lip color, eyeshadow, all of it. Which one is the expensive side? Huh? Which is the expensive side? You can see in the good lighting. Sweetie. This dog. He's like hoping for snacks. I love how you really...
I don't know. I'm gonna go with right.
I don't know left and right, just point. This side? It is not! Oh my God, you really feel like this side looks a little better? A little more bushy? Sweet.
No, it just had a little more color, and I figured pigments were expensive.
You heard it here first, guys. My husband thought the less expensive side was the expensive side. Save your money. Buy the dupe. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a judgment from my family. Please let me know what you think. Do you think that one side looks better than the other? Like I said, I think that some things look identical on the face. Some things look better on the less expensive side. Some things look better on the expensive side. I would love to hear your thoughts, and also let me know if you have any dead on dupes that you would love to tell us all about. Let this comment section be a little bit of a, I don't know, a little bit of inspiration for all of us. And also, do you have a very expensive product or something that you know that I have that you want me to find a dupe for? Because I can keep that in the back of my head for future reference, because I would love to do this kind of video again in case you're interested. Thank you so much for being here. Do not forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!